Hi, I just wanted to take a minute to give you a overall picture of how David and I came together, and it was a beautiful, beautiful story. Years ago, many years ago, like probably 30 years ago, I met David Wine's dad, David Wine Sr., and he was a tent maker, still is a tent maker. And I was in Fort Pierce, Florida. We ran into some difficulty in Fort Pierce, Florida, in dealing with some of the people and how they were working with their ethics as far as adopting children, and we were just in a complete disagreement, and it wasn't a full, honest report that we could work with. Nice people and everything, but it was something we could not go along with, and so we ended up having to leave that ministry. And in leaving that ministry, it left us basically without any income at all. And I had known David Wine Sr. because when I was with New Life Ministries, we had bought a tent from him. That was our only contact. But that was 2 or 3 years before that. Well, I had called David just to talk to him a little bit and tell him about the situation, or just to find out what he was doing, because they lived about 100 miles away. I drove over. He invited me to come over. I drove over, and I remember this so clearly. He was in a van, and I pulled up onto his property. And when we pulled up onto the property, he said, "Hop in." And we started talking and chit-chatting. He says, "You know something? The Lord just spoke to me." He said, "I finished a meeting last night and took an offering." And he said, "I don't know how much the offering was. It was all cash. But the Lord just told me to give that to you." And he reached up behind his head and in a little compartment, pulled out a brown paper bag, and he said, "Here, take this. The Lord just told me to give it to you." Well, this is something that was so unique. Our rent was due. It was $450. And when he handed that to me, I had no idea what was in it. And he didn't know that I had enough gas to get to him, but I didn't have enough gas to get home. And we talked for a while, and he said, "Why don't you come on over here and see about working with me for a while?" And he said, "I got a place you can stay, and the kids can stay, and I had a trailer here, and why don't you come on over?" So we went back, and I had to get gas. I counted the offering. It was $500. It took care of the rent, and it took care of the gas. I turned around, I told my wife, "Look, this is what God has done." We went back over, and I worked with David for probably a year and a half, I don't know, longer than that, and became the manager kind of there, and we were going to head up that one, and David was going to Trinidad, and all of that didn't materialize. However, this was the beautiful part. Fast forward 25 years or whatever, David Jr., given his heart to the Lord in jail, totally transformed, miracle, down in Haiti. And I ran across his whole, what he was doing in a testimony and all that. And the Lord spoke to me again. He said, "Now, take the seed and resow it." And so I turned around, and call maintenance was doing really good then. It was a whole different picture completely. I wasn't with that ministry anymore, with New Life, or any of that. Everything had changed. And I wrote out a check right away for $500. And I sent it to David Wine Jr. and sewed it back into his life. And that was the very beginning of the orphanage. Now, I just love how God never forgets a trick. He just never forgets anything, and he brings it all the way around. So now for the last 5 years, we have been able to support David Wine Jr. and send him thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to build that ministry up. And God brings us around now to a certain point where he said, "Okay, now you have taken care of this ministry, and you have instilled all these finances. Now I'm changing your ministry again. I'm bringing you to Florida to be able to minister to family and minister to other people that you don't even know. And I'm going to rearrange everything in your life." This is what God has done. Now he's brought me here to Florida. I live in Satellite Beach, with my daughter and my son-in-law, and we are ministering in a whole different way. God has taken just recently, just within the last few days, and you know this testimony because I've given it, the last few days, God has said, I want you to back off right now, and I want you to emphasize all of the ministry that I've given you over the past with the blogs and ministering to individuals as I send them into your life. And do not try to minister beyond what I'm telling you to minister. I am changing your Haiti calling. Now, I've brought you this far. All right, and it would be just like receiving a military orders that you're stationed in Iraq, and all of a sudden the orders come through, I am shifting you to Afghanistan. Guess what? Iraq is all done. You don't have anything to do with it anymore. Now, all of a sudden, Haiti has been taken out of my life as far as the main emphasis. Yes, there's points where we will constantly be in touch because he's like my, David Jr. is like my adopted son. I just love him so much. We're so close. And we will be walking together in our faith, in our prayer life. But that's where we are right now, and God has rearranged everything in my life, and I am thrilled. I just wanted to bring you up to date where we are right now, and I am so thrilled that God has put a new thing in our lives.